Hello and welcome to our channel, RVTV. Rift Valley Tube is your YouTube source for all the history and happenings of East Africa. If you like our content and are interested in learning more about the wonders of East Africa, hit the subscribe button. Today, we will take a look at a little-known but historically important battle in Ethiopia. There are times in history where the assured victor is overthrown by a seemingly weak opponent. An underdog, like David, wondrously defeats the overpowered Goliath. This theme could be applied to the Battle of Adwar, a fight between Ethiopia and an invading Italian army in 1896. But this bit of history may surprise you. This battle changed the perception of the power Ethiopia had, which led to widespread critical thought on colonialism, racial superiority, and women with political power. This is the tale of a victorious Ethiopia and a woman behind the victory. Its Empress, Queen Tatu.
An African Victory, a Powerful Woman, a Racial Truth, by Rift Valley. Ethiopian victory affects the world. Though it may not be noted in every history book, in 1896 the Battle of Adwar took place on the Horn of Africa. The battle pitted the armies of Emperor Menelik II of Ethiopia against invading Italian forces commanded by General Oreste Baratieri. The Ethiopian victory produced a resonance that vibrated the entire Western world for a number of reasons. For the first time, African forces had defeated a European power bent on forging an empire in Africa. And once again, in the history of Ethiopia, the victory was influenced by a powerful Ethiopian woman, Empress Tatu. Also, the question of racial superiority was beginning to affect Western societies, especially post-slavery America. Many were surprised that an African nation could defeat a white colonial power such as Italy. The heritage of the victory at Adwar is felt deeply by the people of Ethiopia because it sealed the country's fortune as the only African nation to have never succumbed to European colonization. Ethiopians feel especially charged to share and to keep alive the memory of the battle, not only because of the turning point it marked in Ethiopian history, but also because of the thrusting impact the victory had upon an already rapidly changing world. Carving up Africa. From that foothold, they had their eyes on the rich Ethiopian lands to the south. Emboldened by the success of other European powers in Africa, the Italians had reason to believe that snatching the land as part of their empire would require little effort. But their confrontation with Queen Tatu during discussions involving the Treaty of Wuchale should have given them warning. From the House of Solomon to the Treaty of Wuchale. Tatu Betul was born around 1851 and traced her lineage back to the offspring of the biblical Queen of Sheba and King Solomon of Judea, as did her husband King Menelik of Shewa. The two would claim the positions of Emperor and Empress after the Battle of Adwar. Tradition has it that the male offspring of that union was also named Menelik. Tradition also connects the Queen of Sheba with the dark and lovely companion of the Jewish king in the biblical psalm, the Song of Solomon. As queen, Tatu wielded considerable political power, and she was a key player in the heated negotiations over the Treaty of Wuchale. Crafted by the Italians, the treaty was two-faced. One copy of the treaty gave Ethiopia to the Italians. The other copy assured the Ethiopians that they could maintain their autonomy. Queen Tatu held a hard line for Ethiopia, and the talks eventually broke down. At the negotiations, she said, "I am a woman. I do not like war. However, I would rather die than accept your deal." As a result, Italy turned to invade Ethiopia. Ethiopia united by the king. King Menelik was ruler of the realm of Shewa in Ethiopia. A wise man and a skilled general, he had noted that most of the defeats across the span of Africa were due to warring ethnic factions being unable to unite against the white colonials. He vowed that would not be the case for his country, and warned every citizen from every corner of Ethiopia about that possibility. He became the leader of a unification of the peoples of Ethiopia and set out to train and equip a formidable army made up of the Ethiopian peoples. Menelik summoned princes, their vassals, and other people from every corner of the nation, and mustered a force of over 200,000 men. Queen Tatu herself rounded up 16,000. To provision his army, Mekele was able to gather 500,000 rifles, 5 million rounds of ammunition, 6,000 revolvers and 25,000 blades for lances. Ample provisions for a formidable artillery force were secured as well. In fact, Queen Tatu commanded some of the artillery forces. Battles before Adwar. Two battles occurred before Adwar. One at Mekele and one at Ambalij. The battle at Mekele is certainly noteworthy as it involved the Queen and her troops and their superb tactics. The Italians had themselves well fortified in formidable hillside bunkers bristling with sharpened stakes and broken glass. The area was raked with solid Italian machine gun fire. The Queen sent a spy to see if a weakness in the fortifications could be discovered. The spy returned to tell her of the vulnerability of the Italian source of water. Tatu ordered her soldiers to capture the water supply. She told her army officials, "You are anxious to get involved in this war. As you know, there is not enough space for all of the army. I do not want to lose any of you over friendly fire. Be on guard at the water supply down in the valley. I hope you are not afraid to die for your country and honour. I will give gifts for those who will come back alive. I will take care of the families of those who die. Let God be with you." The Italians tried several times to regain their water supply, but Tatu's soldiers held through each assault. She kept the troops there well supplied with food and ammunition. The troops were ready to die for her, their country and their honour. They defended the water well for 15 days against the Italians. As a result, the Italians finally had to sue for peace when King Menelik arrived on the scene. The Battle of Adwar. When her husband marched forth to the north to meet the main body of the enemy, Queen Tatu marched with him. She was commander of an artillery battery during the Battle of Adwar. The Italian forces were made up of around 18,000 infantry and 56 artillery guns. Several thousand Italian troops were allocated to supply duties, and the rest included many inexperienced troops and some Eritreans, led by Italian officers. Their equipment was poor and their morale was low. The battle was a nasty and bloody affair. The Italians fought valiantly, but they were outnumbered and outsmarted. One general's brigade was decimated by Ethiopian lancers, and the general's body was never found. Over 7,000 soldiers from each force died. The battle was a crushing and humiliating defeat for Italy. The Ethiopians drove the retreating Italians to Eritrea and ultimately ran them out of the area altogether. As a term of the Treaty of Addis Ababa, drawn on 26 October 1896, Italy was forced to recognise Ethiopian independence. Empress Consort of Ethiopia. Because of their success in uniting the nation, on 10th May in 1889, Tatu and her husband, Menelik, were crowned Emperor and Empress of Ethiopia. Just as when she was queen, the Empress wielded great power at court. Their reign and their marriage could be seen as a good cop, bad cop affair. Her husband would always prevaricate or postpone decisions and deign to her rulings. As a result, her husband was much liked, and she was not so well liked. But she made all the tough decisions. Because of the colonial wars, she had a great mistrust for anything European and defended Ethiopian traditions and culture vehemently. The three victories of Adwar and Empress Tatu. The world learned at least 3 lessons from the Battle of Adwar. 1. That it was possible for a united African nation such as Ethiopia to defeat a large European colonial power. 2. Women such as Tatu could lead in diplomacy and lead in battle, just as could men. Long before women could even vote in Western nations, the soldiers and citizens of Ethiopia accepted Tatu's leadership. 3. The notion of white racial superiority had been taken down a notch or two, and this had great influence on societies around the globe, especially in America, where the notion of racial equality was just starting to bubble up through the culture.